Shout to the Lord came out in 1994, and when you listen to the original recording, you can definitely tell. So how do we take a classic song like that and help it fit in a worship set? Let's give it a shot. With a song like Shout to the Lord, we're trying to take that original song and give it more of a modern feel. So I'm giving myself a few parameters. We're keeping the same tempo, the same roadmap to the song, and we want to still give it a classic sound. My team has already taken this and done all their parts, and for the most part, they're real similar. The drums have a little bit of a deeper sound, the piano is a little more standardized, we're all playing to a click, the bass is way less busy. With those parts in place, first step to this was just to get a more modern guitar sound. In the 90s, guitars are a lot drier. It's very noodly. The guy's kind of playing all over the place. I want to give something that feels like it fits with more modern worship songs. And so I've dialed in my guitar tone to have more of that modern worship sound. So I added an eighth note delay and as well as quite a bit of reverb. Just to kind of fill in some space, I can dial it in more later, but I just want to give myself something to work with. All right, let's go ahead and listen to this first intro and see if there's anything we can do. Okay, there's nothing in there besides piano. I initially thought about just kind of doing real, kind of that like tremolo ambient sound, but I wanted to avoid that because sometimes when you do that and you start there, when you pull that out, all of a sudden it kind of feels like the bottom drops out of the song. So I decided to go with some just light triads that just fill in that space. So it sounds like something like this. Now, I know the song pretty well, and I already know that the verse has almost like two parts to it. So I'm fully dropping out for the first part of the verse, and then I'm going to bring in some more of that triad feel coming into the second half of that verse to give it a lift. Let's try that. So that's kind of the idea there. I'm just going with kind of real light parts. I don't want to build too much. And the chorus was where I really kind of got in trouble. So initially I was like, all right, big, just power chords. But that didn't really quite work. It just felt too butt rocky and it was like too much right there. The song kind of builds. And so I felt like, this is just not really getting the job done. But I still want, like, if you listen to the feel of it, that kind of slower tempo, when you put those big chords in, it's like that doesn't match the feeling, but the song does need to drive more there. It feels like it needs something extra. I decided to go with just more of a driving feel, like 1 and 2 and... Funny thing is, when you're driving it that way, all of a sudden, if you now add like a second electric guitar power chords, all of a sudden those don't feel so rocky. That movement just gives it a little more feel. Now verse 2, I want to keep it pretty much the same. Now we've kind of established a theme, but I want to give it a little bit of a lift. So I started it out initially, the first half of the verse, the same exact way. However, the second time through, my comfort, my shelter, tower of refuge and strength, let every breath... Now, instead of going back down, I'm coming up high. And then come up. And then going into that next chorus, I just keep that same... Same idea, just to give us something, feel good. You might be in a position by that point to drop down into chords if you don't have somebody else already doing that. But I still feel like in that section, having that more driving simple part really works well. Now going into the next chorus, I actually decided to keep it pretty similar. So threw on a little bit of extra overdrive just to kind of give it a little bit of a lift. Then it goes to the key change. If you think about the key change being its own dynamic, we don't have to do a bunch extra because the key change does it for us. However, once we're playing on the key change again, changing something for our ear to kind of give it a little bit more of a lift. So I gave it kind of in the same range, but then I give it a little bit more of like a... By giving a little bit more of a counter melody, it gives it a lift there. So let's hear how that sounds. I hope that gives you a sense of a way that you can approach a classic song to make it more modern. You can check out Worship Artistry's full version of Shout to the Lord at worshipartistry.com, or just see the playthrough here on our YouTube channel. If you're tired of searching the whole internet to look for a decent tutorial, check out worshipartistry.com. We've got over 600 licensed, cohesive song lessons for your whole team. Link is in the description.